It is now 11 a.m. This is a board meeting on Zoom. We are based at 405 North Ocean Boulevard, Pompano Beach, Florida. I'm going to ask for a roll call of board members, please.
Andrew here.
Bill Vancherry here.
Rich Marlowe
Scott
here.
O'Connor here. Sorry,
And
I stepped on you.
so as of right now, Lorraine Reynoldston is missing, but we are expecting her a little bit later on. Oh, and Howard. Hold on. I'm just trying to tell you. There you go. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just say present.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, we got 3 more people who want to come in. Crew notice board meeting here was posted on the door, was posted on our TV monitors, and it was also sent out as an email. I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the previous minutes, considering our secretary's not here. I need a second, please.
I second it.
Second. Motion's carried. All right, let's discuss old business for a moment. The last information I have here on our rodent information is that the population of the North Tower has been greatly reduced. The camera systems that the company Tropical Plant and Pest Services put in are picking up very little activity on the first and second floors. So now they're really concentrating down into the basement. The garage bait stations have been filled twice during the month of August due to heavy activity there. So they constantly come back here, they constantly are monitoring it, and we're looking for a fresh new update from them as soon as possible. Front desk construction update. We had a request from Mr. Orlando that the front desk be secured in a better fashion. So, would you please open the door? Thank you. So that nobody could jump over the wall and enter the building if the guard was not at her desk. Jimenez came here, they did secure a tarp on there. With the tropical depression we had over the weekend, it was ripped away. They came back yesterday and they repaired that. We still cannot do any work. We're still waiting for the permits to start construction. Prior to that, we did do the demolition, which is permitted without a permit. The city inspector, upon giving us a permit to start construction, comes here to inspect the demolition work, the prep work, and then gives us the go-ahead to proceed. So everything is done according to city regulations. Pipelining updates. Bonnie has been in contact with the pipelining company. We have not received a permit yet from the city. No work can begin until that permit is secured. I think we're in the same situation as we are with the FOBs, the access control, and the only work that is being done currently, we have a permit still for the elevators, and we have a permit now to continue with the fire alarm system, and that is now moving along rapidly with wiring going in throughout the whole building. Any comments on all of these old issues?
Sort of related. When do we next have to notify the fire people about the SLS permit?
That's a good question, and I'll check with Bonnie on that and make sure it gets extended, right?
Absolutely. We don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I know that we were extended due to the COVID. I don't know what the new expiration date is, but we'll look into that and get back to that.
Okay.
Good catch. Okay. New business. I'm going to jump around on the agenda here because the grievance committee asked for time on here to discuss something. I have no idea what it is. Kim Abner, who is on the grievance committee, requested the time. So I'm going to just jump over to her and see if I can unmute her.
Stuart, there are people waiting to get in.
Thank you. There you are. Kim, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have Mel Schroeder and I have Dick Bell here, the rest of your committee, and you have the floor.
Okay. Well, the reason why I asked for some time on here, because I was actually getting questions from homeowners about the committee, basically how it works, asking for detailed explanations on the process. And I just felt that, some of these questions was better to come from the board because we don't actually structure the process on how things need to work.
Okay. So you want us to go through the entire process of the finding and the grievance committee?
Yes, and I believe there's some people that's on this chat as well, on this call that I can see that have asked questions. So, they can possibly go ahead and ask their questions on their, themselves, if you would allow.
At the end, we'll allow any questions that they want. All right.
Okay.
Bill, you want to run through this?
Huh?
Go ahead. Would you like to go through the whole finding process for the people today?
Well, I don't have it in front of me. I'll have to pull it up and, it's a whole 2-page document, 3-page document.
Okay.
So I think what we need to do is actually put it on the agenda for our next meeting and just let them ask their questions, and then we can have it formalized on the agenda. Put it on the agenda actually to explain how the process works.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
If it's okay with you, let me just quickly summarize. The board does not find the infractions. Infractions are given to the board through the security department of the building, the front desk. Between the office and the front desk, any violations are put into a call log like this and are emailed out to the board on a daily basis. The board then takes a look at these violations and we determine that we should have a discussion on it. Then we put it onto our agenda to discuss at the end of the meeting for a possible fine. Once the board get together, puts a vote together to decide on how to proceed, that information is then sent to the office. The office writes up a letter. The letter is then certified to the unit owner involved, notifying them of a fine and how they can remedy that by appearing in front of the grievance committee with a date. Grievance committee is then given all the information, a date is scheduled, and basically they then decide whether to uphold or to dismiss the fine. Am I correct? Right.
Yes. Hi, Stuart. One of the biggest issues that, many of the residents, or when they do get fined, is they're on the agenda first and they have no idea about it. So the question that they're asking is, send the letter for, what's the process? And I have to read it. Is the process to send the letter first, let them know, then put it on the agenda? And
well, if we don't find an infraction, the board decides it's not an infraction, then they never get a letter because they don't have to be to the grievance committee.
Yeah, so I just don't know that I gotta go into the document by myself.
All right, so
So,
go ahead, Richard.
can I interject? Okay. One of the things that is a point of contention is that there is unit numbers that are placed on the agenda. Our understanding, which we've gotten an opinion from the association attorney, is that that is required to be there. So the board does not fine. The board may propose a fine. And once that is proposed, as you said, a certified letter will be sent out with a minimum of 14 days notification of a date for a grievance committee meeting. If there is no response, that grievance committee meeting will take that case up on that date. If there's a response, the unit owner can have an opportunity to request another date, and that will occur then. But the meeting is held whether or not a unit owner attends or has responded. And just like court, if you don't respond, comes your court date, a default decision is entered. And that could be either a fine or a dismissal. The grievance committee does not have the authority to change a proposed fine, to either reduce it, increase it, add something else to it. It's either yes or no. And again, the letter is sent out with a minimum of 14 days notification, which is required.
Once a fine is issued, the Board of Directors now has no standing in it at all. It is disappearing from our agenda. It disappears from our life. We don't even know when you meet in front of the grievance committee, we are not given the results of that. So it's an independent committee that responds to themselves, and the board has absolutely nothing to do with them once a fine leaves this room.
One other point just to make is that the grievance committee cannot be seated on by any board member,
Right.
nor any relative of a board member. They have to be completely independent.
Right.
And actually, that's one of the problems that I've been hearing about, is that a lot of people have problems with the fact that two of the committee members are previous board members, and they have a lot of history that preceded their fines that are proposed. And in all honesty, just in sitting in some of these on a committee, I tend to agree with some of the owners that there's too much history within the committee that people pull from and kind of gauges what if they're going to get fined or not. I think just like the Rules We Live By committee have 5 people, that the grievance committee should also have 5 people if we're going to have previous board members on there, because there's entirely too much history on, that people know about or have been engaged with previous homeowners. So I think that's something that should be considered.
It's something which can be considered going forward, but as of right now, our grievance committee is composed of three members that aren't amount to get a final vote. And we can take this up with a future board if you'd like. But as of right now, these gentlemen here are examples of what is right in this building. They volunteer their time, their effort, their hours. You should only know the hours that are involved in being a board member. I can't get people to volunteer for half the things unless they want to hand pick and say, oh, no, I want to do this one. No, I want to do that one. It doesn't work that way. These 3 people who are on the grievance committee volunteer their actions. We've had committees that we've asked for, and we've gotten 0 responses because there's a lot of apathy in the building. So you can't hand pick and say, oh, I don't like him because he was on the board. He was on the board because he volunteered his time. He's on the grievance committee because he volunteered his time. These others have not volunteered any time or asked to. So if anybody would like to volunteer for a committee, send an email to the office with your name, your phone number, your unit number, and we will keep that list, and as committees form or reform, we will add you to a committee list. Not a problem.
Well, all of that is true, and I'm personally very appreciative of anyone who volunteers to do any work for the building. I think that's a great thing. And everyone has history, regardless of what they do, with something else. But the grievance committee has to be conducted basically as 3 impartial judges. History should not have any play in anything. Previous encounters should have no consideration. The only thing that should be considered is the facts that are on the table, whether they're correct or incorrect, and they should be upheld or it should be dismissed. And that's it. So I'll speak for the board on this. Anyone on that grievance committee has to be completely impartial and look at the individual case and nothing more, nothing less.
Well, I agree to the 5 people on the board, on the committee, because by law you have to have a minimum of 3. If you have less than 3, then you can't have the finding committee. So if someone can't make it, you have an alternative.
Yes, I just think that it should be 5. It should be 5 people, opposed to the 3. Regardless of if it happens now or later. I just think that, like I said before, there's a lot of history there, and that it should be, if it's going to remain with the 3 people that are currently on the committee, it should be raised to 5, in my opinion.
I am not basing the size of the committee based on who's on the committee and who's not. Either we set a format for a committee and go by that no matter who's on it, or we don't have a committee.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out if we have other individuals that are willing to volunteer. I don't see any problem with increasing it to 5, myself personally. But we would need to find other people that are willing to devote their time, as you have, to doing this. That's the key to it.
Okay. So we're going to table this until the next meeting. We'll have the full rules pulled up, and we'll review this again. All right?
I repeat.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to ask you 2 gentlemen to excuse yourself now. Thank you very much for your time and your efforts. Building appreciates it. Okay. Let's see if we can get more people on board, right? Thank you. Okay. All right. Item number E, discuss and approve the reserve study update. This is the reserve study. There's a lot to go through in here. We have a total of 110 pages. I'm going to ask the board, how would you like to go about updating this or approving this?
Well, let's put it this way. Is this the new one they just completed? Or is this the first one?
This is the previous one that we are not happy with everything in it.
Don't know what happened.
Joining the meeting is Lorraine Patterson. Somehow she couldn't get on through the Zoom, so I invited her down here to attend.
So Stuart, basically, we're to approve the reserve study. Is this the reserve study update, the second one?
No, it says here, beginning date January 1st, 2020. So this is the current one. We don't have a new one, but before they go through the effort of doing the new one, we should tell them where we don't want it, where we're not happy with it on the current one. Yeah?
Very unhappy with them.
have to do it. And that's what we're up to now.
It's already.
So why can't we invite them in to sit down and go over and review this, and we can, because there are, you know, things in there that we've already done, things that they have listed that need to be done by 2020, that I see no reason, I don't see any reason we need a new gym floor. There are things in there like refurbishing the first floor that we've already accomplished. So why don't we get them in and have them
Bonnie,
go over this study?
I'm sorry, prior to the meeting, Bonnie told me that there's a chance that they will call in here in about a half hour. We're not sure, we didn't get a confirmation on that, but if they do, we'll come back to this topic. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that I'm just unhappy with. All right, we're going to table this for now. Any objection to that?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you already move to the office?
Yes, we did.
Someone take minutes?
There was nothing in there to really update. No complaint.
Okay.
All right. To discuss and approve bicycle room rebuild proposals. Each board member received bids from 3 contracting companies to remove the old 2 bicycle rooms and rebuild them according to fire code. Fire department came in here. Our bicycle rooms were never built with a permit, and they were not up to code. So we asked Jimenez, who's the company who did our first floor rehab so far, and is working on the front desk, to submit one. We have one from the Levin Group, and we have one from a short contractor. Has the board had a chance to review all these pages yet?
Give the bottom line numbers on each of the quotes.
Okay. Jimenez is doing a proposal for $29,000. The assured contractors gave a total bid price of $18,900.
18,000.
$18,900.
For the 2 parts today?
Yeah, I put it all together.
Oh.
Every one of these I'm combining together.
Okay.
And the Levin Group $40,464. I don't know if they're using solid gold, but this was demo all existing walls, frame out new area, install 6-foot double doorways, solid core with hardware, provide electrical circuits, LED lighting, switches, receptacles, emergency lighting, tie into existing circuit for area, provide backing if required for shelving or racking. Daily cleanup room, no sprinklers will be relocated, no flooring finishes provided. Basically, they're all the same. Assured contractors did add in, we have an air conditioner in a door, which is totally against code. So they had removal and replace. Jimenez did not have that in there.
Including the air conditioning unit?
It's a window air conditioning unit that they have in the door.
Okay. So they're gonna put a new one in?
No, it's against code. You cannot have an air conditioner in there. And that room will not be used for that anyway. That room will be used for toxic paints and paint cleaners and all of that.
The hazardous material room.
Right. According to the fire department, we must take all of our toxic supplies of cleaners and paints and varnishes, and they must be put into a separate room away from the thing and has to be fireproof. So it'll be a bricked up room. That room we were just using for about 10 to 15 bicycles. So that room will now become strictly for all the paints and toxic chemicals that we have in the building.
That's not the one we're calling the meeting.
That's the maintenance
It
room.
is.
That one called the maintenance room.
Oh,
So my thoughts on this are that we have three proposals with very varied amounts and apples, oranges, pears. I think we need to go through and look at those proposals and say, we need this, we don't need that, we don't need the other thing. And by the way, I searched my email and I know I'm 6,000 miles away. I did not see any of those proposals. I did not see. I didn't see it. I didn't see anything on the maintenance shop rebuild. I didn't see anything on the plumbing connection proposal. Haven't seen a manager's report since August 12th.
Yeah, I agree with Rich. I haven't seen anything either.
I agree with Rich and Stewart. I haven't seen anything either.
I will go back and I will pull up the emails where we got these, and I will see if you guys were included, but I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah, I got the email. They're all included.
What date was that email?
August 28th,
All right.
around that time frame.
Okay. So what I propose here is table this for now. I think we should put out a bid sheet of exactly what work we want done. Submit
Yeah.
to these companies to get a apples to apples price.
Well, let
Exactly.
me interject. Let me put in another proposal there. I
Okay.
propose we just knock the walls down, get that areas back to the way they were when the building was built. I don't see why we need bicycles in their own little house. Half the bikes we've got are just littered around the hallways. Let's get rid of the walls and put some decent racks in on the walls of the space that'll be in there. But I don't see why we need to build new walls to look after somebody's $20 bike.
I would disagree with you on that. However, we do need to have brickwork done in the second room, which is becoming the maintenance room. That room does need a cinder block put in where there's wood right now.
Yeah, that's fine if we're storing flammable materials, but
Right.
I don't want to fund building a house for old bikes.
Okay.
You know, I have to say that's the simplest, most common sense solution that not one of us had thought of, except for Andrew. And I applaud you for that. I agree with you 1,000%.
and if people are concerned about security, they can put a lock in the bike.
Yeah, well, most bikes down there aren't worth stealing anyway.
True, but there are a few people.
There are a few, yeah, but put a decent lock on it.
All right. So, all in favor of not rebuilding the bicycle room?
Okay, my big question is, all those bikes that are on the outside, the hundreds of bikes, what do we do with them? Just leave them like that?
Well, I think what we need to do is to take an inventory of the racks that we have and try to refigure how we can clean it up and make sure that there's enough bike racks for everybody and have a central location for them.
Pat was supposed to be working.
Well,
on
that was Pat's
Well,
job when he gets back here.
Actually, I have an inventory of all the bikes, and I think it's a good idea not to rebuild and just to use bike racks. And the bike racks we have, a lot of them already, the bikes are chained to them, and we have some very old bikes that should be
Donated.
donated. And then we should have enough room to use the racks in a proper manner.
All right.
Well, this is a good time of year because we could donate them ahead of the holidays.
Well, actually, there are places to donate them. There was a veterans veterans group that would take them. There was the church that would take them. There's several different areas that we could donate them.
Pat, didn't you give them a timeline for when they had to
Yes.
record?
Yes, I did, but
So we're well past that, right?
yes, we are. But the
Mr. Fry
issue is that I'm not there. Huh?
Wasn't Mr. Fry helping you on that committee?
Alan was helping me on the committee,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
Alan just to not do anything until I got back there. I didn't know it was going to be this long between my mom and COVID. But the bikes already, the listing of the bikes is already there with the bikes that aren't registered to anybody. In other words, we have bikes there that we don't have any ownership for. You know, they were never registered to Parliament's house, and I can't identify who owns them.
All right.
We have bikes there. Yes, go ahead.
All right. Since you are unable to be here with us because of your mom, would you like us to put out for more help for your committee? Since we're
That would be
today.
that would be a great idea.
All right.
Get another two people to help.
We have. Okay.
Michelle said that he would volunteer.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this the right way. If I can get somebody who would want to volunteer to be on the bicycle committee to at least assist Pat with organizing the bicycles, getting bicycles separated for donation, and possibly looking into new locations in the garage area that we can locate these bicycles and organize the bicycles so it looks a little bit more presentable. Please send an email to the office. I see all the emails. The office will handle it, and we will get Pat some more help. People said they were looking to volunteer. We need volunteers for this, so please.
So for this, they have to be here.
Yeah, it would be for an owner who is on premises here, who can actually help us to locate, relocate, donate the bicycles. And I will send out new bids for demolition work on the 2 rooms and the rebuilding of the maintenance room. Sound all right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good by me.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Any dissenters?
Okay. Anybody dissent on this? Motion's carried 7-0.
Wait, did we do a motion?
Oh, I'd like to make a motion to expand the bicycle committee and to rebid the project as a demolition project for the bicycle room and a building of a new maintenance room. Seconded, please.
I second it.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
7-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michelle, the money comes from the general fund. Michelle asked a question of where the money comes from. It comes from the general reserves.
Howard, how are the general reserves, Howard?
Give me a second and I will let you know.
Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting for Howard to pull that up, I have an update here from the Tropical Plant and Pest Services. This is the latest one. There are 6 cameras on the south side closest to the lady sauna. We picked up activity of 1 rat one time there. On the 2nd floor north corridor, we picked up 1 rat closest to where we had the problem on the 1st floor, near the broken pipe. There has been no activity on the 1st floor common area. Rat bait is continuing to be eaten and has slowed down a bit. So we may have come over the hump on this since there's very little activity, but he still remains on service for us for the year, and we will try to make sure that we eliminate this completely. All right. Howard, you need more time?
I am ready. No, I'm ready. Okay.
Go ahead.
So, where do we stand? Okay. Right now, we have a total of. Okay. Here we go. Okay. In the reserves, in total reserves, we have a total of $1.3 million in total reserves.
Okay.
And this is as of July 31st, we had 773,000 in the operating accounts.
Okay, good.
And in those reserves includes the special assessment dollars.
Okay.
What else?
The general reserves for what?
773, he said.
Yes. The total reserves are $3 million.
Yeah.
General reserves as of July is $650,000. Everything else has been allocated to a line item.
Then what was the 773?
773 is operating account. How much we had in the operating account?
Oh, okay, operating.
Okay. Which brings us to the next discussion, which is why I was asking how. Discuss and or approve RSI Port Cochere roof proposal. When we inspected the Port Cochere after the accident, we noticed that water was spotting up throughout the entire base of the Port Cochere. We asked RSI, the roofing company, to come in and take a look to decide whether this was a result of the accident or if it was something else. RSI said that the accident could not have caused what was showing with the spotting of all the water in all the areas. Yes.
When would you like Matt to join on for the research?
Reserve study in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah. All right. So, RSI gave us a proposal. They say that the roof where we have the gravel is leaking water into the structure itself, which is why you're seeing the spotting. And if we allow it to continue, we're going to have a continued deterioration of the Port Cochere, and eventually we'll have to replace the entire thing. So they gave us a proposal to get a roofing permit from the city and sweep it to a clean, workable surface, provide and install a new insulation board to the clean roof deck. New insulation board will be fully adhered to the Alibond insulation adhesive for local code. Install a new roofing membrane. Provide all the, basically they're going to build a new roof on top of the Port Cochere.
Yeah.
Okay, let's summarize and make it a little easier.
We only have that one proposal.
Okay, this is our roofing company.
Right.
It's $25,685 to do this job. $25,685.
Do we have an estimate how much it would cost to replace? But my issue is that the Port, how you say it, the Port Cochere is not tall enough to accommodate ambulances or anything like that. I mean, back in the day it was fine, but obviously the cars have changed. Could we theoretically get a new structure for how much more?
Problem is that behind the Port Cochere we have the windows. So you
I
can't-
understand. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah,
It's just that it kills me. It just drives me crazy when I see the ambulances can't go underneath the Port Cochere. All I'm saying, before we spend the money, I don't know if it's a viable alternative. But if we're going to do the work, maybe it's the time. The other question I have is, in the insurance claim, how much did we collect?
It was 25,000 and change.
Yeah.
So right now, it's a wash at this point.
No, because we spent that on having it repaired.
Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind.
So when I got this email, I responded to it, and I heard you say, Stuart, that RSI said it could not have been caused by the accident. I had a question as to.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Bromley did. Bromley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question as to what the cause is. Did we get a professional opinion as to what the cause is? Is it age? Is it because they put more rocks on the roof and created holes in the roof? Was it an improper inspection by Bromley? Was it poor construction by MCW? I think we should try to obtain an opinion on that, because we might not have to pay for this. I mean, it might be a cause for action against either the engineering company or the construction company.
And I also think you should get some more bids. That's a lot of money for a small structure.
I'm writing all this down, guys.
I think it'll be a long shot to get anybody to admit that it's their fault. The roof of that's the same age as the roof of the building, and the roof of the building's like a pincushion.
Exactly. All right. We'll set it, we'll throw it back over to the building manager and have her get an update on this. You want an engineer report of why it's leaking?
It may be worthwhile.
Okay.
We've got good history with Best Roofing to get another bid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask someone to give us their opinion as to why this is happening. We may find out it's just age.
It may be. So Mary Beth said that an engineer said it's not possible. RSI did the original work on the roof. Why didn't they bring up the repairs before? And then Andrew said, refer to the FDM design drawings. And a lot more. I would also like to investigate whether it's worthwhile, if we can possibly raise the roof.
I already wrote that down now.
Okay.
Okay. We're tabling this for now. It'll go back to building manager. Maybe Cassie will have a suggestion for us on who we can use.
I actually asked you to get more bids on this.
Yeah. Okay. Discuss how to approve plumbing connection proposal to replace the main building soil waste pipe above unit number 102. There is a 10 to 12 foot, 6-inch waste pipe that is cracked. The price of this is $2,600. They said this is the reason why there's an odor coming into the units from there, because it is a waste pipe. So I have a proposal here from Plumbing Connection to replace that pipe. Opinions?
I haven't seen the proposal, but that's something that I feel that we have to act on quickly, just out of respect for the owners.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I agree.
Okay. I make a proposal that we accept Plumbing Connections.
Make a motion.
I am. Oh. I make a motion to accept the Plumbing Connection proposal for $2,600 to replace 10 to 12 foot of 6-inch pipe above the ceiling of unit number 102 for a cost of $2,600. Second?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 7-0. We are waiting right now. The reserve study gentleman is about to come in on Zoom. I'm just taking a look to see if he's there. Okay, he's not there yet. Discussion regarding the lot on Fifth Street. I was given some information that turned out to be inaccurate. There is an empty lot on Fifth Street adjacent to our building. And I was mentioning that it would be interesting if we could take that over and convert that to additional parking for the building. So the person found something on realtors.com but it turned out it was for the lot on the other side of Fifth Street, not on the side adjacent to the building. So this is, at this point, moot. But if there's a committee to be formed to purchase land on Fifth Street, either on the corner or down the block adjacent to the building, that's an interesting proposal that the next board can take up to expand out parking, which is always a problem here in the building. If you're interested in doing a committee with that, send an email to paul@outlook.com. Yes.
You know, one of the things is, you know, I agree with additional parking, you know, and again, that lot across the street where that trailer used to be, you know, is the lot in front of that building for sale, and can it be zoned for parking?
That was the lot, the one that had the trailer on it.
Yeah.
That's the lot that's available for $1,025,000.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is, would they zone it for a parking lot? You know, with townhouses in between there.
First, we'd have to see if there's interest in doing it from the building.
Yeah.
I would imagine we would fund it possibly with a loan.
Yeah, would it be more advantageous to, instead of looking at additional parking, to buy out our recreational lease and take it from there? Because that would be more valuable to the building than an additional parking.
That is something which we've had some discussions on already. But they're not being as cooperative as they possibly could be, as far as wanting to sell the 99-year lease. They're getting good money on it compared to what the interest rates are today.
I saw it 4 months ago,
Yeah, because he wanted to become the managing agent of the building.
Yeah, but the other thing too is all the other land lease owners that are a part of that. Some of them are very minute with dollars. So, you know,
This is the majority holder. If we don't get him, we don't need anybody.
Well, we can pay out the rest. I mean, at least instead of having, you know, you got 2 people or 3 people that own a majority, the other 4, maybe we can buy them out, and at least we have our stake in the game when it's ready to go.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Okay, because I did run the numbers. So let me ask you this question. So, what is the? Let's just say, for argument's sake, and I don't know the exact numbers, that it costs $2 million in present value to buy it out. That would mean approximately $4,000 per unit, or probably $5,000 per unit. Again, just rounding out numbers, just discussing it. My question is, what is the benefit to us if we bought out the recreation lease?
Well, we're paying $14,000 a month, which I believe when we did the lease came out to like
$175,000 a year. I agree. My question is, because it would have to be an assessment.
Well,
what is the benefit of buying out the lease?
Howard, you can get a mortgage. We can get a 30-year mortgage on that, which will be less than we're paying now because the interest rates are not at 9%.
Okay.
So we would find in the long run that by doing it that way.
I'm okay. I just, again, when I read the numbers, I mean, I'm planning around for being another 50 years, but, a lot of people might not. And the question becomes, what is the benefit of buying out directly other than we owning the property? And the second question I have is, we talked to that, one person who owns 70% of the liability of the lease. What if we don't purchase the other 30%? What happens? Is there benefit or negative to do that? So,
well, that's
Michelle. The answer is, as far as consideration. Let me just respond. We were just talking about it. No action has been taken. All I just did was run the numbers. We are so far away from anything ever happening. So it's not. It's just a conversation. That's all it is. This is what we to everybody. This is what we do to everybody. The board has these type of conversations. Some of them are come to fruition and we move forward. Some of them are saying, you know what, I don't see the benefit to this. So this is one of those conversations. It's really, we're just talking right now. So getting back to this, I don't know the answers. All I'm saying is I ran the present value of what the numbers are, and who knows if I'm even right or anything like that. But just very, very rough numbers, it would be probably about $2 million to buy them out, and that's not even 100%.
Right. And again, the $2 million is not $2 million, and we take out a loan for the $2 million, comes out to what the monthly payments would be.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. I mean, all I'm saying is that what is the benefit, the long-term benefit? But just, it's something to consider, and this is not to be, we're not addressing it right now, we're just having a conversation.
Right. Okay. All right. I have in the room here Matt Straley, who I believe is from the Reserve Study.
Yes,
hello. Matt?
Yes.
Hi. Welcome. You're in our board meeting. We have 41 participants sitting in here, including the board. And you are from the Association Reserves Company?
Yes.
All right. We're not happy. We have a lot of things in the reserve study that you gave us last year that we didn't think was accurate.
Okay.
Like the lifespan of our gym, which is relatively new, and you had us replacing a floor that was really just laid down a couple of years ago. So what can we do to update this?
So we're on, I believe, have you guys under contract for a no site visit update for this year. So that means that I'm going to go through and update the components, pricing, and lifespan. So I'll age everything another year. But if you can send me a list, go through the component details and kind of give me a list of things that need to be updated with accurate project history, because I'm really working off of the information that is provided to me. So the reserve study is as good as the information that is provided to me.
Okay.
But provided to you by who?
By you all.
I'm pretty sure we didn't provide you information that said our gym floor needs to be replaced.
Well, I wasn't provided information that was installed 2 years ago. So it was just kind of I don't even remember where it was at.
Then what was everything based on? Did someone do a physical analysis?
Was there a
So we came in last year and did a inspection. We measured everything, we quantified everything, and so the fitness room remodel, it's not just for the gym floor. The gym floor could stay intact, but we were saying that the room probably just needed to be remodeled because it looked outdated, I think was the majority of the reasoning for that. Now then, if the gym floor is new, that's fine, but we can go ahead and increase the remaining useful life on that. That's, a gym is kind of
an example, and it takes away from your credibility for everyone.
Oh, Matt, let me go into some specific details. So, for example, the fitness equipment, it says replace. There's no useful life. The mats, as you said, remodeling has no useful life. The HVAC has no useful life. I mean, I'm not,
Okay,
etc.
so
And the other
HVAC
question
is
I have is the amounts.
So HVAC is something that's it's not as arbitrary, because the HVAC equipment typically has a pretty predictable remaining useful life. So for something like a gym remodel, it's more subjective. But for HVAC, it doesn't mean that it's going to fail then. We're not saying that. We're just saying that the money needs to be on hand to replace the equipment because it's nearing the end of its useful life. So HVAC equipment typically has a useful life of about 15 years, 10 if you're on the coast, which I believe Parliament Towers is. But for equipment that's in more protected spaces, they'll last a little bit longer. But so,
All right, well,
and
the bottom line is that there's a,
so the cost, that's based on two things. One, any information that you all provide us, that's the first place that we go to, is things that you have actually paid, and then research that we continuously do throughout the entire state of Florida. We're always calling different vendors. That's one of the major things that we do, is we're always going out and talking with people that maybe you all wouldn't have the time to necessarily go and do on your own, because we're in contact with all these other people and we can do it from a neutral third party stance. So then that way you're not getting the estimate from the vendor that they may be lowballing it to try to get the job, or they may be overselling it because they can. We're just getting a arbitrary quotes from these vendors typically. And then we also build it from costs that clients have paid throughout the entire state of Florida. So we do a lot of research on a lot of the things that we have in this study.
Did you talk to the carrier on our HVAC stuff?
On the HVAC stuff.
Carrier's the primary supplier on that.
I don't believe so, but I mean, we have, like I say, we have an extensive database that is built out from what various clients have paid. And
I think if you research that a bit, you'll find that carrier think our chillers have got about another 6 years left in them.
I mean, the bottom line, Matt, let's say, okay, the other question I have is on the paint exterior, how much do you have it estimated at $612,000? So, Stuart, how much did we pay for our painting? Just a ballpark, do you recall?
I don't remember the number.
Okay.
It was in the
I just think it's
plus range.
okay. All right, I thought it was too low, but okay. The bottom line, Matt, is that, you know, honestly, between the years, the useful life, between the years, we have a lot of questions. That's all. And we thought that we were getting a product that we could just turn around and use. And we just have a lot of questions. It seems like we have to do a lot of work, and that's not what we're paying for.
Well, a reserve study is a cooperative process because I'm not omniscient. I don't have all of the information. We do a lot of research, but the reserve study is as good as the information that's provided to us. And so if you guys have like costs for like paint, we're happy to use it. I don't believe that we had the cost for the previous paint job. So, I mean, I would be more than happy to incorporate that into the reserve study. If you do have costs available, I want to use the cost that you all have actually paid for the different things. That's the first primary source that we go to.
Sounds like you're telling us to do our own study.
You have to talk louder, Lorraine. I didn't hear you.
I said, it sounds like he's telling us to do our own study research.
No, I don't agree with that. But okay, let's. All right.
Matt?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new management company coming in November 1st.
Okay.
Before they come in, they do a in-depth walkthrough of the building, evaluating everything. Can we prolong this a little longer until they do that, submit that to you, so you can get an update of information? Would that work?
I talked to Will a little bit more about that. I'm not on that side of it. I'm just the person that's handling the actual study itself. But as far as like the contract and different payments and things like that, Will would be the person to talk to regarding that. But I don't see that there would be an issue with it. So,
Because, I mean, what we're all looking for, including you, is to have accurate information that we can base our financial information on.
mhm.
And I think that if we have a company who's coming in here, whose first priority is to walk through the building and see what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done, that's going to give us all the information that you need to put together an accurate reserve study.
Okay.
I think it would be prudent for you to go back to whoever it is that you have to go back to and explain the concerns that we've related to you just today, and the fact that we do have this study which is going to be delivered within first 90 days of November 1st, and come back and see where we are with that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great.
How much was paying John for the building? Do you remember?
There's $18 million special assessment by construction
Yeah,
and
but just the paint itself, you know?
you have to look up the
Okay.
volume here on site.
That's what I thought it was, around that.
I sent all of that to them. So
All right. We have our building manager in here with us now, Matt.
Okay.
So, so how do you want to leave this with you?
Just let me know what all information that you're wanting back from me, and then I'll see, what information that we need. Like I say, I prefer if we can have time to go through the reserve study and see, the component details towards the end, starting on page here. Page 36 of the reserve study, if we can start there at some point in the future and then go through it and look and see what needs to be updated and let me know. That's the best way that I like to do updates, is going through and saying what's changed, what stayed the same. And then if there was information that there is more reliable information available than what we have. One question, that I did see when we did it last time, that you all had a resurfacing project that was totaling $360,000. That seemed exorbitantly high for the amount of area for everyone. I think it's like 6,200 square yards, and $360,000 to resurface that seemed really high. So I was kind of wanting to know what the scope of work for that was, but I don't believe I ever got an answer to know what the scope of work was for that. But I mean, the rest of it.
Was that asphalt?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do it.
Okay, so it didn't happen.
No.
Okay, and so, I mean, the cost that I have listed there, I based it off of an estimate that was provided to me by Fani, I believe, and it was $360,000.
Okay. All right, so we'll have to get back to you on that. All right, so how about if we get back to you when I get more information about the walkthrough and the report?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Does the board have any other questions for him?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Wait, just some questions. Okay. Let's see. From DC, no extra cost. No, we have a contract with them, which was a 2-year contract, so we're sort of locked in. Let's see. Eleanor wrote about cosmetic upgrades. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Howard?
Okay.
We'll have one more agenda item though.
Sure. My apologies. Go on.
All right. All right, discuss and or approve consideration of levying a fine for 227 and 1222.
What about pay?
We did that, we got it. We moved it up.
Okay.
All right, 227, although we would love to find them, they were tenants. And on more than one occasion, they're on the second floor, they would climb off their balcony and then go off of our carports to get to the street. But at this point, they have left the building, and since the owner would have no recourse from the tenant who's gone now, I would like just to waive this and move on to the next.
Well, the guy, I was there. He pulled up his pickup truck behind 3 parked cars on that side, climbed up on top of the building, didn't check in with front security,
Right.
entered the building without authorization, wasn't checked for COVID. So he put all the unit owners at risk. And furthermore, I really don't care if the unit owner doesn't have a recourse, but he should be made aware of it that his tenants did that, and he could have caused turmoil.
I don't disagree with you, and
I agree with Bill.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to find the unit owner even though the tenant is no longer in the building? He's gone?
I
I
mean,
think all we can do is send him a letter.
I would say send him a letter. Here's what occurred,
That's
and in the
fine.
future, if this occurs, but this is the type of tenants they approve, even though we get a background check, but these people need to be held accountable. He violated, and he was nasty. Besides that,
Off with his head, Bill.
yeah. But it just put the building in jeopardy. He didn't go to our front desk and get checked in for COVID and all that. We just had,
I 100% agree with you. And if he was still living in the building, I'd probably propose to cut off his legs. But since she's gone, let's make the proposal. I make a motion to send a warning letter to the owner to discuss this with future tenants about proper procedure of entering and leaving the building. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'll second.
I do.
I
Second.
second.
No.
In favor of a letter, raise your hand.
Aye.
Yes.
Any nays? 7-0. 7-6-1. Lorraine says that she has never jumped off her balcony to get out of the building.
yeah, what happens if he fell and broke his back? Who's liable for that?
Unit number 1222.
27, 1222.
Unit number
1222.
on September 2nd, the owner of unit number 1222 called the front desk in panic. She stated that her husband was cleaning his firearm in the living room and the gun went off in the unit. She was calling the front desk to ask the front desk to check on the residents that lived in the unit below her. Front desk called 1122, asking if everything's okay. They stated that they're not in town and the unit is empty now. Bullet did not go through. It's a concrete floor, the bullet did not go through. Okay? It left a hole the size of a dime in the floor. But I have to question the intelligence of a person who cleans a firearm with ammunition in the chamber. Pat, you are for.
I got a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
First of all, do we know what type of weapon it was?
It was a handgun.
It was a handgun. Then was Broward County notified of this?
I asked that this morning and I was told no.
All right, Broward County should know about it. First of all, we should know whether
It's the same thing.
we should know whether that handgun's licensed.
Okay.
Broward County, and we should know who the licensing agency is. It could be Broward County, it could be someplace up here in New York, but we should look into it. That would be
I totally agree with you on that.
all right, so that notification should be done. They should conduct an investigation, possibly a pistol license hearing, and that could be grounds to revoke his pistol license.
Very good.
I think we should follow through with that.
Yeah, it should be, notification should be done.
This isn't New York.
Okay, now, as far as the building goes, do you propose a fine for this?
Well, I think we should wait until we hear that it's an unlicensed, if it's an unlicensed weapon, and proceed from that point.
But does it matter if it's licensed or unlicensed?
Well, if he's breaking the law, it's a bit more serious than if
Right.
he's still.
All right. I agree with Andrew. I believe we have to wait.
I agree.
I believe we have to. There is no pistol license in Florida.
No. It's an open
I'm
trade.
sure about that.
I don't think you need a permit.
I don't know. That's what Alan just said, that there is no pistol license. But still, we should make the referral to Broward County. Let them do their investigation. Because how do we know this happened at what time?
This happened at 12:30 at night.
Cleaning your gun at 12:30 at night is a little weird to me.
How do we know that they didn't have 3 people in the apartment and they just killed somebody and they're hiding it up by saying it went off by accident? We don't
How do we know? How do we know he didn't take a shot at his wife?
No, I think we should turn it over to the police department, make an inquiry to the police department, let them run their investigation.
And then based upon their finding, then we can relook at this and possibly say a fine was necessary or is necessary.
Okay, so we're gonna table everybody agree we should table this and come back to it after the police are notified?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do that.
We do have a question from one of our residents saying, why wasn't Broward Sheriff notified?
That I don't know. I asked that question this morning when I came in, and the front desk felt that it was handled. It was an overnight person, and the overnight people are just not as
Thorough.
fine, but informed as our regular staff.
And then after the overnight person goes home, the building manager comes in. Management comes in.
Well, we all saw the report. We all said, "Oh my God," but none of us brought up the question of the
Yeah.
bullying at that time.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just follow through with now. It's water on the table. Move on.
Motion to table this?
Yes.
Thank you.
And a vote?
Vote 7-0.
Aye.
Yes.
And let's make sure the staff, anytime there's a firearm that goes off or whatever, the cops should be called immediately. The police department.
Okay, Howard, go ahead with your chat.
Oh, I was just reading what was said, sorry. Let's see, just recently, okay. AJ Rose, this is why 1122, why we're not told a specific situation. I guess the question is, so I guess AJ Rose wanted to know why we didn't notify everybody. I don't know the answer to that. Just like anything that occurs on a daily basis, the board receives a daily report, and I don't think we report on everything. Should the staff be aware of all the rules? Yes, Eleanor, it's definitely a training issue. What else? Alan talked about pistol license. Sheriff is called. I'm just scrolling up. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, Eleanor wrote something about FSR Association. We need cosmetic upgrades. I don't know if this is regards to the reserve study. That's like apples and oranges, Eleanor. Sorry. From Linda, what's wrong with the reserve study? Linda, I have spreadsheets that go into all sorts of detail. Believe me, I will tell him what's wrong with I will offer my opinion about what's wrong with the reserve study. And that's just using the numbers. Andrew and Bill and Richard and Stuart have advised me about other things too, so that would be all incorporated for. Study been paid for? Yes, in a sense. We have a contract with them. I'm just scrolling through it. If anyone else has anything to say, please. I think I answered all the questions.
Thank you, Howard. Appreciate it. All right. Follow up. The elevator will be complete on Friday. It will not service until it's inspected. The inspection date is set for 9/25 as of today. After the city inspects and approves, it will then be put into full service for everybody.
The elevator company, after Friday, will now move over to elevator number 5 and begin work on that.
The
Uh,
elevator
even
usage
before the
by
inspection
Dominic.
of this elevator begins. All right. So now you have your updates. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
See,
They did it at the end, that way they could
Have a
sneak it
second?
out.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.
What an asshole.
Okay.
He did that
What?
on purpose. Very sneaky.